to the website. Once you're on the website, you select maths. This is a grade 4 maths lesson, and the name of the topic is division. And the chapter number, I'll just give you the chapter number. The chapter number is 11, and the lesson number is 5. Okay. The name of the chapter is divide two digit number by one digit number, and we need to interpret the remainder. Okay, something will be left, they would not be perfectly divisible. Okay, so let's go to the grade 4 chapter 11 lesson number 5. The first question says a boy at an amusement park. Let me just copy that. So the first question we have is this. I'll realign so that it's readable for you. Okay. 6 cost. Just a moment, please. Okay. A boy at an amusement park has 43 ride tickets. Each ride on a roller coaster costs 6 tickets. Okay. So they're asking us if he rides multiple times, how many tickets would he be left with? Okay. He has 43 tickets. Each ride on a roller coaster would cost 6 tickets, right? After riding the roller coaster as many times as he can, how many tickets would the boy be left with? So what we need to do is we need to divide 43 is to be divided by 6. Okay. Hi everyone. See, we know that 43 cannot be perfectly divided by 6, right? Hi Semi. So, but we know that 6 times 7 is 42. Agreed? We cannot find 43, right? That means when we do the long division, we write 43 is to be divided by 6. 6 times 7 is 42. When we subtract, we are left with 1. That means he is left with 1 ticket. And he rode 7 times. Right? How many tickets? He will ride 7 times and will have 1 ticket remaining or left. Agreed? Semi. So what we had to do was, if someone has additional tickets, we had to see how many times they can ride. That was not the question. The question was how many tickets would be left in the end. Okay, let's look at another example. The next question is about an amusement park again. Let's see in this question, question number 2. It's about a roller coaster. A group of 43 people want to ride a roller coaster. If in each car it can hold 2 people, how many people will be particularly in the full car? Okay, let's see. Let's resize. Okay, the question number 2 says 43 people want to ride the roller coaster. If each car of the roller coaster can hold 2 people, there would be one person sitting alone then, because 43 is an odd number. So we can say 43 is to be divided by 2. So when we divide 43 by 2, can we say 2 and 43 is being divided? 2 times 2 was 4. We subtract, 0 is left. We bring down the 3. 2 times 1 is 2. Agreed? And we are left with one person at the end. So they're asking how many people will be in the partially full car. One person will sit alone. Agreed? Okay. So what we are trying to find is what is left at the end, the remainder. This was the remainder because the numbers are not perfectly divisible. Agreed? Okay, let's have a look at another example. A real estate agent has $47 to spend on a newspaper ad. Let's see. If the agent has $47 and each ad has a particular cost. And if each ad would cost $8, how much money would be left with the state agent after he has bought some ads? Okay, real estate agent. Okay. For question number 3, it says a real estate agent has $47 to spend on newspaper ads. Each ad cost $8. After buying as many ads as she can afford, how much money will the real estate agent have left over? That means $47 is to be divided by a cost per ad. We will get how many ads the person she can run, right? No, I cannot. It has to be English. I'm sorry for that. I cannot speak French. But you can look at the screen, right? So when we divide, 47 is to be divided by 8. So when we do the division, 47 is to be divided by 8. Kisanet, let's see. 8 times 5 is a 40, right? So she would spend $40 on 5 ads, right? How many would be left? 47 minus 40 is $7. And this is the number of ads. Agreed? So she can run 4 ads and she would be left with $7. She would run 5 advertisements and she will be left with, with $7 as the remaining money. Agreed? Okay. Let's look at another example. The next question says there are 90 skiers. There are 90 people to ski. For the next question, if 90 people want to ski in a chairlift, if each chair has 8 seats. Okay, let's see. Let's try to draw this and let's have a better understanding. If there are 90 people skiing or ride the chairlift, right? If each chair can have 8 people on it, right? So we know that 90 people have to be seated in groups of 8. When we divide a 90 by 8, we know that 8 times 1 is 8. We subtract 9 minus 8 is 1. We bring down the 0. Agreed? 8 times 1 is 8, and we are left with 2, right? So they can have, each chair has 8 people, right? So they will have 11 full chairs. Agreed? That would be 88 people. And the last chair will have 2 skiers only. Because if we want to see the full chairs, what we can do is, we know that if there were 11 full chairs with 8 people on it, that means 88 people were accommodated on 11 full chairs. That means 2 people have to sit on the 12th chair. Okay. Let's move ahead. A car dealership needs to transport 43 cars to an island. Okay. Okay, let's see. Transport 43 cars to an island. The ferry can hold 5 cars. Okay. How many trips would? Okay, let's see. Let's read it again. The question says a car dealership needs to transport 43 cars to an island. The ferry can hold 5 cars. How many cars will the ferry take on the last trip? Okay. If there are 43 cars, they have to be transported in group of 5s because the ferry can hold 5 only. So what we do is 43 is to be divided by 5. We know that 5 times 8 is 40, and we are left with 3 cars over here, right? That means there would be, okay, let's do this. If there would be, how many ferries? There would be 8 ferries that would be completely full, right? If I would mark 5 markings over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. First ferry has 5 cars. The second ferry also has, just a moment, please. Right. The second ferry also has 5 cars. We have 10 cars in total, right? Then we have 4 ferries have 20 cars. 6 ferry has 30 cars parked on them, right? And 8 ferries would have how many cars? I'm just writing the number of ferries. 1 ferry, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 ferries. 8 ferries would have, we know that 5 multiplied by 8 would be 40 cars, right? But we had a total of 43. That means on the last ferry, let me just erase this. On the last ferry, there would be only 3 cars. Agreed? Because the total number of cars were 43. So the question is asking us how many cars will the ferry take on its last trip? 3 cars on its last trip. And that would be the trip number 9. Perfect. 3 cars on the last trip. I was just giving you a representation through the diagram, right? You don't have to do that. This was the answer already. You do not have to do this lengthy working. I'm here to explain. That's why I was doing that. The school party committee had $89 to buy ice cream. Let's see. Thank you so much. Carry on. Okay. They had $89 to buy ice cream. If each carton of ice cream costs $7, how much money will the committee have left over after buying the ice creams? This is our question number 6. The total money they have is $89, right? If they need to buy cartons of ice cream, each carton of ice cream costs $7. That means 89 is to be divided by 7 and we will find the number of cartons. Okay, so what we do is 89 is to be divided by 7. 7 times 1 is 7. 8 minus 7 is 1. We bring down the 9. 7 times 1 is 7. 7 times 2 is 14. 7 times 3 is 21. But 21 is greater. Right? 82? You wrote, no, Solomon, you wrote, it's not 82. It cannot be 82. That means, yeah, 82 would be used to buy. See, the question is how much money will the committee have left? The remaining amount of the money. They're spending 82, right? That means 7 times 2 was 14. And they would be left with $5. Agreed? See, I'll underline the statement again. How much money will the committee have left at the end? So what they did was they bought 12 cartons, right? But, sorry, they bought 12 cartons, but the question is not asking us how much cartons they did buy. The question is asking us how much money was left at the end, right? 12 cartons multiplied by 7, that they spent $82. Agreed? This is the money spent. How much money will the committee be left with? That means the total money was 89. They spent 82 and they are left with, sorry, why did I write a 5? Sorry, 84. Why? How would it be 82? It would be 84. I'm looking at your answer. Sorry, apologies. It would be 84, right? I'm just looking. I was looking at your 82. That's why I wrote 82. Solomon, that's 84. Agreed? 12 times 7 is 84. I was looking at your value. So this is the remaining cash. Do we agree? If they had $89, $7 per carton, that means they spent $84. And the question is asking how much money will the committee be left with? They would be left with $5, right? Do we agree, Solomon? Do we agree? Okay, thank you. Let's move ahead. Okay. A furniture company needs to ship 54 couches. They need to ship 54 couches. Just a moment, please. They need to ship 54 couches across the country. If they can fit 4 couches in each truck, how many couches will be in a partially full truck? Okay. This is our question number 7. If a company needs to ship 54 couches across the country, one truck can fit 4 couches. That means when we do 54 divided by 4, right? Let's do the division. 54 is to be divided by 4. 4 times 1 is 4. We subtract, we are left with 1. We carry down the 4. 4 times 3. Okay, if it's 3 minutes, I'll be slow, okay? Thank you. Thank you, Semi. Thank you. 1, 4 multiplied by 2 would be 8. 4 multiplied by 3 would be 12. And we are left with 2 cars, right? 2 couches at the end. That means there would be 13 trucks. Agreed? That means 13 trucks fully filled. That means 52 couches in 52 couches in 13 trucks. Agreed? But there are 2 couches still left. If they're using 13 trucks plus 1 more truck, and the last truck would only have 2 couches. Agreed? So their question was, how many couches will be in the partial? There will be 2 couches in the partially filled. Perfect. Thank you, Semi. See, they can ask a lot of things. They could have asked us how many trucks will be used. So the total number of trucks would become 14, right? Even though the last truck only has 2 couches in it, but the truck has to be used for the shipment, right? Okay, for the next question, it says a farmer wants to plant 23 tomatoes plants. If a farmer wants to plant 23 tomato plants, if he puts 9 plants in each row, how many tomato plants will be partially? Okay, let's look at this. Question number 8. If the farmer wants to plant 23 tomato plants, if he puts 9 plants in each row, let's suppose if we say this is each plant 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, right? If he puts in each, sorry, I put it in the column. Each row is always horizontal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If he plants 9 in a single row, then he plants another row. How many would the total are there? The total now is 9 plus 9 is 18. He has already planted 18. He is left with 23 minus 18 would be 5. So in the last row, there would be only 5 tomatoes. How many tomatoes will be planted in the partially? We would write 5 tomatoes. Agreed? Or what we can do is 23 is to be divided by 9. 23 divided by 9 means 9 times 2 is 18 minus this 5 tomatoes in the last row. Okay. Thank you, Sami. We can do it multiple ways. We can draw the rows because it's a smaller number, but if the number would be very big, we cannot draw them, right? So best way is to do the division, and whatever the value is left at the end, if it's not perfectly divisible, that value would represent the remainder. Okay, let's have a look at this. There are 58 people, just a moment please, to ride the bumper cars. 5 people can go in each round. How many people will ride in the last round? Okay, question number 9. There are a total of 58 people standing in a line. 5 people can go in together. Let's suppose there are 5 cars, right? Sorry. So what we can do is we can divide 58 by 5. 5 times 1 is 5. We are left with 0. We bring down the 8. 5 times 1 is 5 because 5 times 2 would be 10. And we are left with 3 at the end. That means how many people will ride in the last round? That is the remainder. 3 people will ride in the last round. Agreed? Okay. Let's have a look at another example. If there are 93 chairs, they have to be arranged for an assembly. Let's see. In the gym for an assembly, After the assembly, the chairs will be put away on racks that hold 9 chairs per rack. Okay, just a moment. Okay, if this is our given question, question number 10, and they're telling us that there are 93 chairs. Okay, once the assembly is done, the chairs have to be put back on the rack, and each rack can hold that holds 9 chairs, right? So can we say 93 is to be divided by 9? That means, right? So we know that 9 multiplied by 10 is 90, and 3 chairs will be left. So we can say how many chairs will be on the final rack? There will be 3 chairs on the final rack. Agreed? Perfect. Yes. When it's not possible to divide, we stop over there. And that value gives us the remainder. This will give us the remainder. But if we will continue with this division, Semi, your question is, if we stop, we get the remainder. But if we continue with the division now, the answer will become a decimal number. But we are not focusing on decimal numbers right now. As soon as we cannot further divide, we stop, and whatever is left will becomes our remainder. Okay? Very good, Semi. Thank you. Let's try another question. At a fair, Scarlett has 93 riding tickets. Ride tickets. Let's see if she has 93 tickets for her. Just a moment, please. Each ride on the Ferris wheel would take her 6 tickets. After riding the Ferris wheel, how many times as possible? Just a moment, please. It needs to be realigned because otherwise the question would be very vague. Okay, question number 11. If Scarlett bought 93 tickets for a ride, right? Any ride. Each ride on the Ferris wheel costs 6 tickets. That means she can ride multiple times. That means when 93 is to be divided by 6. Let's see. 93 is to be divided by 6. 6 times 1 is 6. 9 minus 6 is 3. And we bring down the 3. In the table of 6, can we find a number closer to 33? 6 times 1 is 6, 6 times 2 is 12, 6 times 3 is 18, times 4 is 24, times 5 is 30. But times 6 would be 36. We cannot move ahead. So we say 6 times 5 is 30, and we are left with 3 as a remainder. Agreed? So that means Scarlett will ride, this is extra information, ride the Ferris wheel 15 times. And this is the main part of the question. And she will be left with 3 tickets. Okay. Even though she rode 15 times, that was not a requirement of the question, right? I'm just assessing this information. What is the meaning of 50? That means she is riding 15 times, but she is left with 3 tickets in the end that she cannot use because 6 tickets is the cost for riding. Sorry. Okay. So let's have a look at another example. The next question says Colton's floral shop needs to mail 44 checks to the banks. Okay, just a moment, please. Mail 44 checks to the bank. If he can put 8 checks in each envelope, if he is putting 8 checks in each envelope, how many checks will be left in the final envelope? Okay. For question number 12, Colton needs to mail 44 checks to the bank. He needs to put them in an envelope. If they can put 8 checks in each envelope, right? That means 44 divided by 8. So what we can say is when 44 is divided by 8, 4 cannot be divided by 8. But let's read the table. 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times 4 is 32. And 8 times 5 was 40. So 40 is very near 44, right? Let's say 8 times 6 is 48. We cannot take 48 because it's greater number than 44. So we can write 8 times 5 is 40. And we would be left with 4 checks, right? That means 40 checks. This 40 checks can be put down in 5 envelopes. Agreed? So how many checks will the final envelope have? The last envelope, the final envelope will have 4 checks in it. Right? Because 40 checks were perfectly kept in 5 envelopes. We are left with 4 extra checks. So the 4 extra checks would go in the 6th envelope, right? But it would not have 8 because the checks were only 44. Agreed? Okay, let's try to do some questions from the test. Okay, let's do them together. Okay, just a moment, please. I need to go to grade 4, chapter 11, lesson number 5. Sorry. Let's do the test. The first question says, sorry, just a moment. Okay. So the first question from the test gives us this information. Okay, I'll just realign, resize so that it's easier to read. A bakery received a shipment of 70 peaches. It takes 9 peaches to bake a peach pie. How many peaches will be left over after baking peach pies? This is our question number 1. from the test? Option A, option B.
Let's go the other way around. I'll tell you both ways to do this question, okay? Let me explain question number one, then I'll let you do question number two. We know that they had 70 peaches, 9 peaches to bake each. 70 divided by 9. This is usually how we do this, right? 70 is to be divided by 9. 70 divided by 9 would be 70 divided by 10 is 7, and this would be 9 times 7 is 63. No, 9 times 7 would be 63. 70 divided by 9. 63. We are left with 7. 9 cannot be divided by 7. That means 7 is the remainder. Agreed? So we can say option A is the correct answer. Or the alternate way is, if 9 peaches were there, what we can do is, we can see 9 multiply by a number. 9 multiply a number would be 9 multiplied by 6 is 54. 9 multiplied by 7 is 63. To make it 70, we cannot do a plus 4. We have to do a plus 7, right? Okay. I'll copy the next question for you people. Can you help me out? The alternate would be, if I was trying to do the alternate, I told you I'll do the alternate would be lengthy. 9 plus 9 plus 9, we would do the division through addition of numbers, okay? So preferable is, since we are doing division as a topic, let's do division over here. We did a very similar question. If a company needs to ship 54 couches for 4 couches per truck, how many couches will be in the last truck? We did a very similar question to question number 2. Option A or option B? Can I have the answer? Option A or option B? So what is the answer? Is the answer 3 or 2? Option number A, option number B. Yes, thank you, Semi. We will be left with 2. How? Let's see. 54 is to be divided by 4. That means 54 is to be divided by 4. 4 times 10 is 40. 4 times 11 is 44. 4 times 12 is 48. 4 times 31. This is 4. We can directly do, we would be left with 1 and 4 times 3 is 12. When we subtract, 2 is the remainder. Agreed? For the next question, question number 3, which option, A or B? Perfect. Thank you.
They had $47. Each ad was 8, right? Simply divide 47 by 8. See, we know that 8 multiplied by 5 is 40. 8 multiplied by 6 would be 48, right? But we have the number, yes, that is 48. We cannot consider, right? So we write 5. This is 40.
Thank you, Semi.
And we would be left with 7 as the remainder, right?
Yeah. So please do complete the remaining questions. All you need to do is you need to divide the numbers, and whatever is left is your remainder, right? So you need to find the remainder in this case.
This value is the remainder. Okay, I'll explain later what is a quotient, what is a divisor, but right now focus is how much is left. What is left is called the remainder. Agreed?
Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Best of luck. Take care.